本日はご対応の中、
Thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate your presence. Now, we'd like to start the press conference with Toyota Motor Corporation and Panasonic Corporation. Let us introduce the participants. From Toyota Motor Corporation, we have Mr. Masayoshi Shirayanagi, Operating Officer. From Panasonic Corporation, we have Makoto Kitano, Senior Managing Executive Officer.
続きまして、本日の進行について
Let us explain the procedure of today's press conference. First of all, Mr. Shirayanagi of Toyota will explain the overview of this press conference. And then we have Mr. Kitano of Panasonic to talk about the overall strategy. And then after that, we'll take questions and we'll have a photo session. So I'd like to invite Mr. Shirayanagi. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining us today, despite your busy schedule. My name is Shirayanagi from Toyota Motor Corporation. Yesterday, at the time of the announcement of the business results, our president, Mr. Toyoda, said that we need to think about the business from the viewpoint of the connected city, where all the things and services that support people's lives will be connected with information. Today, we are going to explain the establishment of a joint venture company for town development business. This is indeed our effort to try to realize the connected city together with Panasonic. So let me explain the background behind this joint venture and also the purpose of establishing this joint venture company. Let me start with the background. First, when you look back at the history of the town development, you can see that the towns were very much influenced by the transportation methods of the time. For example, up to Edo period, the major transportation was water transport. So strategic places for the marine traffic and water transport were well developed. Toward the high economic growth period, rail networks started to develop. Residential areas were mainly clustered near the stations. Also, in the suburb, along the railways, there were new towns developed. With the motorization, commercial areas emerged in the suburbs and alongside the major roads. Suburban shopping centers were built, and also stores were built along the bypass roads. Now, we are faced with another major change of the transportation. That is, advanced technologies, including autonomous driving. With the changes of those transportation methods, concept of the city can drastically change. Now, how would advanced technologies change the towns? Until now, when you choose a place to live, there are always trade-offs. For example, if it is close to the station or city center, you only had a limited space. Or when the place is far away from the station, you might have a bigger space. So there was always a trade-off between comfort and convenience. But from now on, with the advanced technologies, we can enable both the comfort and convenience. So even if the location is not convenient or conveniently located, with the use of the telecommunication technology, you no longer have to go to the office. With the development of the mobility service, you'll be able to move freely. As for the shopping, even if there is no store nearby, you can utilize the home delivery. This might become the given. You will be able to live in a spacious home surrounded by the rich natural environment and can also benefit from the convenience. The time when we can realize such town will come in the near future. Because of those changes, various players are entering into the town development businesses. For example, the housing and the property companies who have been developing towns so far are now expanding into the services and data acquisition or analysis based upon the existing assets and facilities and real estates that they have. At the same time, IT companies are also entering into the town development business by leveraging the data assets and technology. So this situation is an opportunity for us, and that is the background behind the establishment of this joint venture company. Now, let me talk about the purpose of this joint venture. With this joint venture, we aim to fuse the development, for example, real estate development and housing development and construction, with technologies. Toyota pursues free, safe, and comfortable mobility society and is working on the generation of new mobility services. As for Panasonic, with the lifestyle update concept, has various living environment related technologies, for example, in the housing and the town development, and has a wide ranging technologies and know-hows. And both companies have Toyota Housing Corporation or Toyota Home or Misawa Homes and Panasonic Homes. So two companies hold or have housing manufacturers and construction companies. So from Toyota and Panasonic, we can provide the mobility and other various living environment technologies, and housing manufacturers and construction companies can promote the town development so that we can generate a new value for the lives as a town as a whole. So that is the purpose of this joint venture company. The name of this joint venture is Prime Life Technologies Corporation. This new company will promote the housing, construction, and town development businesses. From Toyota side, Toyota Home, Misawa Homes will participate, and from the Panasonic side, Panasonic Homes, Panasonic Construction Engineering, and Matsumura Gumi Corporation will participate in this joint venture. The headquarters of Prime Life Technologies will be located in Tokyo. Representative Director and President will be the person sitting right next to me, the current Senior Managing Executive Officer of Panasonic and the President of Panasonic Life Solutions, Mr. Makoto Kitano. After going through the various procedures, we plan to establish this company in January 2020. And Toyota and Panasonic will be investing the equal amount of shares, and this company will be operated independently or autonomously with the support of two companies. As for the strategy of this joint venture, I would hand the microphone to Mr. Kitano, who will become the president of this new company. Now, Mr. Kitano, please.
それでは
Thank you very much. My name is Kitano. I would like to give you the goal of the JV or strategy of the JV. The ultimate goal of the JV is to create new value of life in whole of the town. That would require town development centered around construction function for single-family, multifamily, and non-residential building, and technology, including device and applications, for example, products and systems that constitute physical space, as well as supporting data and services. And the fusion of the two will be required. With this JV, three housing companies of Toyota Housing Corporation, Misawa Homes, and Panasonic Homes are joined by Panasonic Construction Engineering, Matsumura Gumi Corporation with multifamily and non-residential building corporations to materialize town development function. They are supported by technologies of Toyota Motor Corporation and Panasonic Corporation to realize the fusion. More specifically, new company will promote three core businesses of housing, construction, and town development. Core to housing business will be Toyota Housing, Misawa, and Panasonic Homes, whereas town development business will be carried out by combining functions possessed individually by each partner, and construction business will be centered around Panasonic Construction Engineering and Matsumura Gumi. Town development business will offer virtuous cycle of business opportunities to all partners. Realizing free, safe, and comfortable mobility society is the aim of Toyota. Lifestyle update is the aim of Panasonic. When their technologies and know-how are made most out of, the JV will create the value of life within a whole town. Challenges that the new company faces in the town development activities may offer Toyota and Panasonic opportunities to test new business or to showcase the concept. This way, benefit goes to both ways. Smart Life Town is our mission. We aspire to provide everlasting wellness, safety, seamlessness, highly optimized and consistently evolving life by the latest technology. The town should be updated every day to make people happy to live. Let me touch on the strategy of each business in more detail. Housing business should let three existing brands shine brighter and achieve industry-leading competitiveness. Construction business shall create new phase of building construction through labor saving and automation, leveraging well-tested know-hows of manufacturing. The town development business shall add value that would break preconception of what constitutes real estate value through advanced and sophisticated service and management. In the housing business, Toyota, Misawa, and Panasonic individual characteristics will be respected and enhanced, and in the upstream of the value chain, such as procurement and logistics and manufacturing, and downstream, such as CS, design, construction, sales support, and other backyard operations, shall be commonized. In this way, we hope to both sharpen sales and marketing edge and enhance productivity to realize industry-leading competitiveness. In the construction business, digitalization and robotics and improvement methodologies and processes that have long underpinned manufacturing should bring efficiency, labor saving, and automation to the level that have never been realized before. In addition, when Matsumura Gumi's highly sophisticated skeleton construction technology and its devices and products deployed in the structure will be combined seamlessly with Panasonic Construction Engineering's in-field work capability, we should aim at creating higher value in the building environment. And lastly, in the town development business, we realized the area that has been thought of no suitable area for housing development can become a cutting-edge city that can be convenient and comfortable. As we know for sure, the society is going to have a new mobility based on self-driving cars. Also, we believe that when we not only focus on physical buildings and urban environment, but also on service and management to support residents, we can create the town that evolve every day to stay satisfactory for those who live. Eventually, we hope to bring successful projects to overseas market. New company is expected to be established in January next year, as was mentioned in the beginning. And this means we have ample time to plan PMI processes in advance. The idea is to establish a preparatory committee for the JV launch that I chair as soon as possible to give more substance to the plan I have just outlined. We hope to make a very smooth and quick transition to a JV once it is incorporated. Thank you very much.
ご清聴ありがとう。
Thank you very much. Now we'd like to take questions. Please bear with us so that we can set up this stage. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone. And before asking questions, please give us your name and affiliation. I'd like to entertain as many questions as possible. So we would like to limit the number of the questions to 2 questions per person. And please limit the content of the questions to the related to this announcement of the joint venture. Thank you. Now we're ready to take questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand.
はい。まずは C ブロックの前から3番目、左から1人目の男性の方。
本日はありがとうございます。モータージャーナリストの岡崎五郎と申します。町づくり、家づくりをしていく、町づくりをしていくというのは、ゆくゆくはおそらくその国づくりにも関わってくるんだろうなということを想像しながら伺っていたんですけれども、どうでしょうか。トヨタ、パナソニックという日本を代表する2社でこの取り組みをすることに加えて、これ国とか地方自治体であるとか、そういったところとの連携は考えていらっしゃるのか、あるいはそれともやはりとりあえずは2社でこの取り組みを進めていくのか、それが一つです。でもう一つはトヨタとパナソニック、モビリティのトヨタ、それから暮らしアップデートのパナソニックということだったんですが、ちょっと分かりやすく例を挙げて、こういうところはトヨタがよく
Some of the strength of Toyota and some of the strengths of the Panasonic and what you can do together. So if you can give us some examples. So the first question was concerning the possibility of working together with the country level or municipality level. And the second question is some of the specific questions, specific examples, sorry. So as for the first question, right now we have not yet made any decisions, but naturally, the new mobility society is what we are trying to create, and that could be the center of the towns and cities. So if that is the case, the legislation of the country will be related to this, and creating new towns, then we would need to work with the local municipalities. So I think that could become necessary in real terms. But still, I cannot mention any specific examples that we envisage. Now, as for the strength that we have, as probably was already mentioned in the presentations, so new town or new city, the major changes is probably coming with the new transportation and the new type of mobilities. And with that, we can increase the added value of certain areas and land. We can provide both comfort and convenience. This is truly the biggest strength of Toyota, and that is how Toyota should lead Japan. At the same time, as for Panasonic, in addition to the home appliances, we have Life Solutions Company, so housing, facility, equipment, and the electrical works and so forth. So in addition to houses, the people living 24 hours a day in the different scenes, we provide various hardwares. So we stay with and we support people 24 hours a day. So hardware and the edge devices, all of those devices are what we have. And those could be the strength that we can provide in the town development. Yes. Let me, maybe I will be repeating the same thing, but the town development itself, in addition to the companies, we have to, of course, work with the local municipalities. Otherwise, we won't be able to create the good towns. So I cannot really mention the specifics, but there could be many stakeholders that we need to work with. As our President, Mr. Toyoda, said, we should really work with different parties to develop cities and towns. That would be very important. So as Toyota, until now, we were in the car business and housing business, and we are trying to become a mobility company, so connected business. All of them will be fused with the mobility, and I think all of those can be utilized in the town development. So for the purpose of the town development, this new joint venture will be established, and I think this is quite significant. So from our perspective, as we mentioned, the mobility service platformer, so various mobility services, and through those services, we want to improve the comfort and convenience of those people who live, and we want to make contributions. So for example, MSPF, Mobility Service Platform, and that could lead to various services which can provide convenience to the people. And Mars cars, for example, e-pallet is what we have, and we are developing that and providing that as well as services. That is another area that we can make a contribution. Thank you.
よろしいでしょうか。
Thank you very much. Now I would like to take the second question. Please raise your hand. In C block, the person in the front, but from the left edge of the block, the gentleman, please. Kigawa from Toyo Keizai. I have two questions. Now, Toyota and Panasonic will be joining hands to each other. So from Toyota's perspectives, why it was Panasonic for your partner? And from Panasonic, why it was Toyota for your partner? Connected vehicle and smart cities, I think many operators and many companies are in this area. So why you have chosen this particular partner is my first question. And the second question is somewhat relates to the first. Not only related to Japan, but also overseas, there are so many companies who are in the smart city operations. What constitute competitive edge? Or where do you have to compete, in other words, is my second question. There are areas you can cooperate, and there are areas you have to compete. In the connected city or smart city projects, what do you think is the key? So that's the second question, and I might add yet another question. In this joint venture, Mitsui Bussan or Mitsui Corporation was contemplating on participating. So in this joint venture company, including Mitsui, would there be any other partners joining in? Because Toyota is now soliciting partners to work with. Would there be any possibilities of third or fourth partners coming into this joint venture, please? I think Shayanagi-san may add some more information to my answer. But why Toyota and Panasonic joining hands? Why is this combination? Is your first question, I believe. To simply put, Toyota and Panasonic, we are in manufacturing business, both of us, but in housing and real estate businesses, we had different style of management. In other words, Toyota and Panasonic, we are a manufacturing company, and yet we had different businesses such as real estate and housing. So that made us a good match. So I may repeat myself, but in Toyota, they are trying to create new mobility society, whereas at Panasonic, we are trying to sophisticate our idea of lifestyle updates. And if we do so, town and houses and homes are a very important element. Of course, we do different style of management, but we are looking at very similar objectives. So that was the biggest reason why we are partnering to each other. And the conversation that we had has been very smooth for that reason. For smart city, the competitiveness was a question, I believe. As far as Panasonic is concerned, as I said, homes and in the 24 hours a day scenes of life, we have various hardwares and services provided by our company. And I think we are not doing a good job in utilizing our know-how of such products in town development. Of course, we do have example of Fujisawa, but we are not doing enough. So we have various touch points with people's life. So we have to fit that touch point into the town development. That I do not think any other real estate companies or housing companies can do. I can say this with conviction. So we would like to do more into that area. And new towns should be centered around newly developing, newly evolving vehicles, not around the trains. That's why Toyota area of business can have a strong edge over any housing companies and real estate developers around the world. Now, talking about Mitsui and company, towards January next year, when we launch new company, the participation percentage and the capital we would be putting into this company will be discussed. For Toyota and Panasonic, for both of us, including other projects, this company has been quite close to us. And for JV, real estate know-how is needed, but to be a partner, but we want to have some partner who is neutral to real estate or housing development. That's why we requested Mitsui to join. For town development, if you ask whether there will be no collaboration with other developers, I should not be answering to your question no, because depending on the location, we would like to be flexible in selecting the partner that we would like to work with. Now, why we have chosen Panasonic for this business? That's your first question. To answer briefly, the top management wanted to do this business with Panasonic. That's how I understood. I am in charge of procurement and purchasing, and because of that, I have been working with Panasonic for many years. So affinity between the two companies and trust that we have in each other, I think those were the foundations of this endeavor. We are both manufacturing companies, and also we are having a housing part of the business in our portfolio. We have similar challenges and similar concerns, and I think that was also one of the reasons why we came up with this format. And Toyota and Panasonic, what we can bring to the JV, as Mr. Kitano mentioned, we as Toyota, we are in physical manufacturing company. I think we are able to have a lot of know-how from that business. So we would like to bring that into joint venture company, not only in services sector, but also in other sectors as well. Now for Mitsui and the company, as was mentioned already, real estate projects know-how and project finance know-how and network with many companies are the ones that the Mitsui and the company has. And also when we want to do business overseas, I think Mitsui and the company may be able to contribute. As was mentioned by Mr. Kitano, I think Mitsui and the company can give advice from neutral viewpoint. So that was one of the reasons why we asked them to join. That's all.
でしょうか。はい。
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to take another question. In D block, the second row from the front, the gentleman there.
日本経済
Kuroda from Nikkei. Thank you very much. So the town development, the collaboration, specifically, what will be possible? That's the first question. Home X or Panasonic and IoT home appliances. How do you connect that with mobility or Toyota's MSPF? How would that be working with how would that influence the town development together with the Panasonic? So another question, this new joint venture, the scheme of establishment, could you explain that in the simple terms? And from the perspective of Panasonic, Panasonic Homes will no longer be a subsidiary and will be deconsolidated. So in terms of, I think that there is a 350 billion plus revenue, so that would be deconsolidated. So what do you think of that? Okay, so let me take the last part of your question. Our conclusion is that Panasonic Homes revenue or profit from fiscal 2019, from the Q4, that would be deconsolidated. And so concerning that, Panasonic management and LS management, we have already incorporated that into our numbers or forecast. And as a president of LS, if I may talk about my view, basically at the LS company, the construction material and other housing and age-free, we have several of those different businesses. So individual businesses like this, we would like to make sure that they can survive and grow. That is a very important assumption that we have. And in that, including the capital policy, we have taken we have implemented the best measure based on that. In addition, if I may, from April, Life Solutions Company, instead of that name, people-centered, making lives more comfortable. That is the kind of vision that we have. And based on that, this new joint venture actually enhances this in a more speedy way. So that is the positioning of this joint venture. So about the scheme of this new joint venture, basically, Toyota, Panasonic will be investing on the equal footing, the same ratio, basically. So again, it was mentioned that basically this new company will be supported by two companies, but at the same time, the new joint venture will be independently managed, so it will not be consolidated. So in town development, what do we plan to do? So the things that we mentioned in the presentation, and also to the including some of the answers, I think I've already mentioned what we can do. But as a new company, the new joint venture, so this company will be leading or driving in creating the towns. So I think that the key would be what we can do first. So I think that please look forward to what kind of towns that we'll be developing. That's as far as I can tell you right now. So specifically, what would be possible? Yesterday, our president, Mr. Toyoda, mentioned this as a mobility platformer. How can we improve the daily lives of people? There are various mobility services that we are considering. And as it was mentioned, mobility service platform, e-palette, autonomous driving, we are also working on that, and the mobility cost, therefore, will be coming down. So those people who have difficulty moving around will be able to move comfortably, and e-palette will enable that people no longer have to move around, and they can just wait for the services to come. So that's the kind of the things that we would like to make contributions as Toyota. As for the deconsolidation, I think that there are different areas of expertise. So I think that to become more independent, that will lead to the better growth and better competitiveness in this business. So that's how we have been discussing with Panasonic, and that's why we made this decision. Thank you.
それではご質問のある方。
Any questions, please? In C block, in the front row, the second from the right, the female person. Please, microphone will come to you. Inami from Toyo Keizai. Thank you. I have two questions. First question is, that as a backdrop to JV, you mentioned that the autonomous driving will be progressing. So to the extent possible to develop a new town, autonomous driving and also signal, traffic signal and automobile connection or connected side of the autonomous driving, you said that please look forward, but to the extent possible, if you could mention a little more specifics, please. Now, my question too is Panasonic, Mr. Kitano. Mr. Kitano, Panasonic top management said that Panasonic will not stay as a part supplier to cars. So in the future, what will be the involvement of Panasonic in terms of auto manufacturing as a vision, please? Now, to your second question, as you know, I am at Panasonic, but I am in charge of life solutions of Panasonic. And fortunately, in the evening today, we'll be making company's announcement as well as the midterm business plan. So if you could ask that question to Mr. Tsuga, you will be better handled. I may be repeating myself, but the lifestyle updates and the new mobility society and housing and homes, the Panasonic has been talking about mobility and automobile. But with this new concept, I think we would be able to approach the automotive industry or automotive businesses differently. So I think that's how I could answer. And for your first question, I would like to have Mr. Shirayanagi to answer first. Now, for self-driving, please look forward to what will be realized. Now, in 2020s, early part of 2020s, level 4 in designated area is our objectives when we develop automobiles now. And in the middle of 2020, mobility, logistics, and also sales, mobility service dedicated e-vehicle or e-pallet shall be started as a part of e-pallet business, which is a mass business. Because of that, we would like to work very diligently for our town development business. Now, Kuroda-san from Nikkei asked a question earlier. The car society and the new mobility society and our approach to Panasonic, the relations of these are Home X is basically a control within. It's not just a control within the house, but it's how you can connect your home to the society, and that is the ultimate goal of Home X. So Home X and the something that was already explained can be provided as a service or maybe can be connected to a management. So that will be the challenge going forward for Panasonic.
よろしいでしょうか。はい、続きまして、
Next, in C block, the person in the first row, on the left-hand side, the gentleman.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. Fujimoto from NHK. Two questions. First, in the housing business, you're integrating this. So the population is declining in Japan. So maybe there was some difficulties in your business. About the smart city, the town development, maybe it's kind of repetitive, but where is the growth that you expect in terms of the profitability and growth? Fujisawa and Tsunashima, also Suita in Osaka, you already started those projects. So how do those projects related to this joint venture? First, concerning the first question, you're right. Basically, statistically, the housing start itself in 2030 will be only 60% of the current level. That is a general forecast. So from the Panasonic perspective, Panasonic Homes or Matsumura Gumi, we would make 100% subsidiary, and then the effect of that are something that we are seeing. But when you consider it in the long term, we have to move on to the new phase. Otherwise, there will be no bright future. So there was a sense of crisis, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to do this joint venture. And as for the town development, concerning your last question, Fujisawa and other areas, already as Panasonic, together with other partners, we are developing towns. So concerning those, we have no plans to transfer those projects. Having said that, the new development, the future development, this joint venture should make efforts so that this can be the major player. But the size of the town development is becoming larger, and so in addition to Toyota and Panasonic, other parties also need to work with us. That would also be important. And concerning the town development, profitability, if I may talk about that. Well, first about the risks. First, the land and other things necessary, and how do you collect on the investment would be a very important factor. So, detached houses, collecting cash as soon as possible, and also the condominiums, non-housing projects. Is it for rent or is it for sale? So overall, liquidity as well as whether it's off balance or not needs to be considered in the management. In addition, the important thing about the city development is after people start to live in those houses, management and the services, how do we charge people? So it's a kind of recurring type of business, and how can we shift to the recurring type business would be another key. So I talked about many things, but the important thing is just one thing. So we want to make people feel that they want to live here, and we want to make them satisfied. So that's what we would like to. That's how we would like to develop the new towns and cities.
吹田については
So concerning Suita, the joint venture will try to play the major role. Well, basically concerning Suita, Panasonic Homes itself is playing the major role. That's how we plan to start this project. It is not the final decision, but basically the joint venture will be inheriting that. But again, as I said, the town building cannot be done with only one company. So we need to be flexible. We want to create the towns which can satisfy people, and we'll be choosing the optimum partners each time.
引き続きご質問を頂戴したいと思います。
Questions, please. So in the D block, fourth from the front, second from the right, the lady in that seat, please.
すいません。
Osada from Chunichi Shimbun. I may go back a little to some of the questions. Why you are joining hands with each other was a question, and Mr. Shirayanagi said that as a manufacturing companies, you had common concerns and common headaches. So if you could elaborate on that, please. That's my first question. And by doing this, if you consolidate housing business in the Japanese industry of housing, I think you will be the biggest player in the Japanese housing business. But Toyota has Toyota Homes and Misawa Homes, and you have been making efforts to deliver synergy effects of these two companies, and I think you are able to help achieve that one. And then you are joining with new partners, and you will be starting all over again. So in a larger scale, how are you going to do this business? If you have any aspirations or if you have any determinations, I would like you to share that with me. Now, manufacturing. I do not explain to you, but the total price, the TPS or cost reduction has been the efforts we have been working, and I think Toyota has been doing similar things, so we have resonance to each other. And I think those of us who are working for Toyota has been feeling some affinities to the efforts done by Panasonic. And home building is the most important work. And our chairman emeritus said that he wanted to create the Japanese homes better, and that was the reason why Toyota Home was created. So in order to realize aspirations of our predecessors, we wanted to work with Panasonic to do this housing-related business together. And that was how we came to this decision. What concerns and what headaches? Well, to help you understand, manufacturing companies, we manufacture products, and Toyota manufactures cars, and by creating, we can recoup cash. However, in housing business, if you are not selling house, selling the house which is completed, you would have to wait for 1 or 1.5 years before cash is collected. According to management accounting, the work in progress type of completion-based accounting is used for housing business as opposed to manufacturing business. And the town building requires 3 years' time or 5 years' time before starting preparation of the land. And then you can recover cash only after 3-5 years. So that is quite a different way of doing business compared to that of manufacturing of goods or car. But town buildings and home building, those would be the most important or one of the important businesses for Toyota and Panasonic. And therefore, we decided to work together. Now, for detached houses or single-family homes, as you said, among the top players of the housing companies, we will be the top in the market. 3 brands that exist will use their strengths, especially in different area. They do have different strengths, so they would be utilizing their strength in the different area. But for procurement and development and manufacturing of the upstream or in downstream like CS or sales support, those functions, to the extent possible as a housing business, we would like to commonize to gain efficiency. That's something we would like to start soon. as possible. I think that is important. In my explanation, I mentioned that basically speaking, we would like to empower people, and also we want to enhance productivity, and we want to achieve both quickly. That's the point that we want to focus on.
はい、それではご案内の時間が近い。
We are running out of time, so maybe we can take one more question. Just one question, please. In D block, second row, the gentleman in the middle.
日経新聞の表と
So from Nikkei, I have a question to Mr. Shirayanagi of Toyota. Yesterday, President Toyoda explained that mobility service platformer is the shift that you are trying to make. And I think today's topic is also related to that. That is my understanding, and that's how he explained it. So more specifically, what are the things that you expect, and what is the possibility or probability, if you can give us some more details? And for the future, this kind of framework, how would this contribute to your future of Toyota? Well, thank you. Again, I might be repeating myself, but yesterday, at the time of the business results announcement, our president, Mr. Toyoda, said that to support the people's daily lives, everything, all the services and other products and so forth, and the services will be connected with the information. So connected city is the perspective that we have to have when we consider our business. So it's not just cars, but the cities and towns and society as a whole. That's the perspective that we need to have when we think about mobility. So in that sense, until now, we were in the car industry, housing industry, and the mobility company or connected business is what we are trying to offer. So all of those can be put into the town development, and town development is very significant in that sense. As for the specific services, again, as I said, mobility service platform, MSPF, there are various mobility services that we can provide on this platform. And as a hardware, we have been developing the e-palette. So, as I said, the convenience and comfort can be provided simultaneously. So in order to realize such town, we would like to make a good contribution. So again, as for the content and specifics, that's something that we'll be working on. But I hope that you would look forward to what would come out of this joint venture. Thank you.
Now we would like to move on to the photo session. We would prepare the stage, so please kindly wait.